What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of the Sheehan Show here on Sherdog.com, and we are back with 5 bets for the week in the world of mixed martial arts, and everything this week is coming from the UFC. It's such a big card. I'm going to concentrate on that, and do you know what? Things are going to be a little bit different this week, right? We'll get into last week's bets in a second. It was 50-50 last week, but I'll take it. We will get into them. I'm giving you 3 bets and 2 flyers this week. So 2 big flyers this week. A little bit of a change from normal, but I couldn't pick between my 2 flyers, so I'm going for the 2 flyers this week. So we'll get to that in a second. First of all, let's look back on last week, and we hit another flyer yet again. It was plus 351 I gave last week on this show. The price went up to plus 470 for Henry Corrales to win straight up. And I think a lot of people were actually on that. It was a really good bet. The bet, to get the bets right are good, and all of that is a betting show, obviously. But I love when I get kind of the analysis of it right, and I think I got it nailed on in that one. Because, I won't lie, it's because of that Pavlyuchenko fight. I remember analysing that fight, thinking like, this lad is very good at stopping these sort of wrestlers. He stopped him, he won that fight. And I'm like, this is a very similar sort of matchup, and it's exactly how it played out. I was absolutely delighted with that one. Shouts to Henry Corrales. Henry Corrales might be, the Sheehan Show betting show. Like, he needs to be our background or something, because this lad has hit bet after bet for us. So we roll with Henry Corrales every single time he's fighting now. I don't care if he's fighting Francis Ngannou. We're rolling with Henry Corrales from now on, because he's won us. I think he's probably won us more bets than anyone. So Henry Corrales, absolute legend. The other 4 bets, only one of them hit. So we were a little bit unlucky, to be honest. Look, the Spivak Lewis, I gave over a round and a half. That was a bad bet. Let's be honest, Spivak. I didn't call it. I thought Spivak would win. I thought he'd win late, so I was wrong on that one. Bader inside the distance hit minus 210. Like, I think that was a great price for almost the guarantee. Minus 210, not a massive price, but for the guaranteed bet, I think it was a pretty good price. Anatoly Tokov plus 175. I said last week that Eblen will either be blowing him away in terms of that price, or it'll be closer. I think for the first 2.5 rounds it was close, and then Eblen pulled away. So the read on that one going forward will be known. Ali Asayev, very unlucky with that one. He won 2 of the 3 rounds, but didn't get the decision, unfortunately, because there was a 10-8 round in the middle of it. Correct decision. I'm not giving out about the judges or anything, but in terms of the bets, that I would count myself unlucky on that one to bring down the percentage. So 1 out of 4 of the first bets and the flyer hit. So overall we are at 6 out of 11 in terms of the bets. So we're running over 50% still, which is very good. And in 2 out of 3 on the flyers. Honestly, I only think I hit 2 all of last year. So to hit 2 out of 3 already this year, I have another 48 bets or whatever we have to go. And it might be 2 out of 50 here at the end of the year, but or 2 out of 51 or whatever. But I'll take it. So 2 out of 3 flyers. It's pretty good. Let's get into this week's bets. So, and as I said, I'm going to give you 3 straight up bets and 2 flyers here, and I'm actually giving 2 bets from the main event as well. One of them is the flyer. So I'll go first of all with the my first bet, and it's going to be from the main event, the Volkanovski versus Makhachev. And it's the over 2.5 rounds at minus 150. So over 2.5 rounds at minus 150. I think this is a really good bet. The bookies aren't often wrong, I suppose, and I think this is an enticing price. We'll get into all the other prices and stuff as well, I suppose, as we go at the end when I've given you my 5 bets. But I just think this fight is a one where both of them are going to be picking their moments early, and maybe someone will take over, but maybe they won't. There is a tendency always when we're analysing fights, right, to say, I think this will work, or I think that will work, and there's no in between. Most of the time, high-level fights like this, don't work out that way. They work out like that works that time, this works this time, the other thing works the other time. Maybe nothing will work. Maybe we're stuck in limbo for 5 rounds and maybe it's a close decision at the end. That tends to happen in these high level fights. And I've seen more people this week talk about how, Makhachev is an unbelievable wrestler, but he's not, he's not Superman either. Whereas Volkanovski is not Superman either in terms of his ability and his striking. Like, we have 2 people in here who are very, very, very good. And there is a strong possibility that the bigger man could go in here and dominate. Or the better wrestler could go in here and dominate. Or the better striker could go in here and dominate. There is a possibility of that, a strong possibility. But there's also the possibility that the other person survives in that one, or else, whichever side it is, or else it's just close. And with this one, you look at it, right, and I think that Volkanovski is really good defensively, even when put in bad positions. I saw a stat the other day, and I don't know the exact stats, so I won't even quote it, but he has been taken down a good few times in the UFC. But there's never really a point, or there are a lot of points where he gets up. There's never really a point where he's held down for a long period. Even like in the Ortega fight, where he got stuck in it, but he was defending, and then ended up getting out. When he does find himself in bad positions, he's very, very good defensively in those positions. And like, before I even get into the analysis of the whole fight or anything itself, or who I think will win or anything, maybe I won't even necessarily do that here, because we're talking about the bet by itself. I think that is a good way of looking at this fight in terms of, like, we have 5 rounds here. We have one guy who will be fighting, I think, in Makhachev to finish early. And I think Volkanovski will be trying to have a more controlled fight. And I think those 2 things, if you blend them both together, they sometimes lead to a mad first, maybe round and a half, 2 rounds. And if it isn't finished by then, it will roll on. So that's why I think Volkanovski is good enough to survive that initial madness, to weather the early storm. Like, will he win overall? Now, we'll get to that maybe in later on or in a second. I personally think he might, right? But I think this is basically a bet on Volkanovski kind of weather the early storm and make the fight go longer. And I really do think that will happen. Now, whether you think he'll win or lose, that's another thing, and I know a lot of people have their opinions. But, like, is he going to get submitted early? Like, okay, anything can happen in MMA. Well, my call is no. Will he get taken down? He probably will get taken down. Could he lose a round early? Absolutely. Will he get himself in a position defensively on the ground where he's a little bit safer? I think he will. Will he be able to get back up if Makhachev takes him out? I think he will in different positions. And will he be good enough at times to keep the fight on the feet? I think he will as well there. So I like that over. I like the over 2.5 rounds there. I do think this will be a longer fight. I think we're underestimating Volkanovski an awful lot here. And I'm going with the the over 2.5 rounds. Over. I don't know if I said under there. Over 2.5 rounds. The next bet is an under I'm going for. The next bet, we'll get more into Volkanovski and Islam in a second, because I didn't really hit in the analysis of the actual fight itself there, and I want to do more of that in a second. But as I said, we have a second bet from that. But the second bet here is for Tyson Pedro against Modestas Bukauskas. And as I said, over 2.5 rounds in the last one. This one is under 2.5 rounds I'm going for at -165. So I've changed up this bet literally last second. Just as I came on here, I waited for more of the prop bets to come out. So I waited an extra day to put out this betting show because of that. And I'm glad I did, because -165 for this to be under 2.5 rounds, I think is a great price. I think someone's getting put away in this. I really, really do. If people don't know, Modestas Bukauskas obviously got that really bad injury. He's gone on. He's fought a couple of times in Cage Warriors. And there have been more prolonged fights, right? One of many, especially. And I don't think that's the way this Tyson Pedro fight's going to go. Because Pedro's the type of guy who comes out there and he puts hands on people. Now, my initial pick was Pedro inside the distance, and I think that was -145 or something like that. Which, I still think is a good price. I think for a slight change to -165 and a slight change, you get a half round less. because it's under 2.5 rounds in that decision. For both of them to have a chance to get the finish, I think that's pretty good. Because Bukauskas, he's a good all-round fighter. He can fight everywhere. And Tyson Pedro, like, sometimes he looks like an absolute world beater and sometimes he doesn't. And I could see Bukauskas winning the fight. Now, I do favour Pedro massively here. But what you have in this fight is two guys who are massively talented athletes. And they have serious power and serious ability to finish the fight. Tyson Pedro, 9 wins, 9 finishes. Never gone to a decision in a win. 3 losses. Okay, he's 1 decision, but been finished twice as well. What's that? 90% finishing rate in his fights. Modestas, Bukauskas, 18 fights, only been to decision 3 times. You know, lost 5 times. 4 of them have lost inside the distance. Won 11. Inside the distance out of 13 fights. And the fight I mentioned was against Lee Chadwick. That was 3 rounds in his second to last fight. His last fight was a 5-round fight and he finished it in the 4th round. So those are 2 of his more prolonged fights. And those were coming back after injury and getting back into the groove, I suppose, over in Cage Warriors. I think this one, I honestly think this will be a 1st round finish. So you're giving yourself 2.5 rounds here for this price. But look, I was looking at all different bets, and we look at them again in a second here. But looking through all of these bets, this was the one that stuck out to me in all of the fights on all night. Minus 165 mightn't seem like a huge price or anything like that, but for this, I really think these are 2 finishers, 2 lads who hit very hard, and 2 lads who can be finished. I don't think Bukauskas has the best chin in the world, let's put it that way, and I don't like saying that about people, but we've seen him knocked out by heavy hitters, and like Tyson Pedro, say what you want about him, but he is as heavy a hitter as you'll find in that division. He hits really, really, really hard, and I think if he will connect, that minus 165 price will look very good. I think the minus 130 price on him to get the finish will look very, very good as well. So yeah, I'm going for that one there. So the next bet, right, I said I'm going for 2 flyers. That's kind of 2.5 flyers here because I've decided, you know, I'm going to be honest here, right? My win-loss record, I know I said I was over 50%. My win-loss record is not as important to me as picking out bets with good prices. So, like, I could give you a pile of, like, minus 250 bets here, and then more than likely I'll come out, you know? But I want to give you good prices and things that I think are good prices. You can look at it yourself and say, oh, maybe that's not a good price, Sean. I don't agree. I want to get you thinking, you know, I want to get you thinking a little bit here. And with all the bets, usually, I will rarely give a bad price just to like win a bet and just to get the record clued in. And I'll be honest with that. I have no qualms about saying that at all. I'm not one of these, you know, we'll keep the record for the over-under and all at the end of it. I'm going to go week by week and look at a nice way. We will keep the record just because people wanted that, and I've no problem doing that. But anyway, next bet, 3rd bet here. It was one I thought about. Because I'm not 100% confident in this actually happening, but I really like the price. So it's Jack Della Maddalena plus 300 to win by decision against Randy Brown. Now, as I said, it's the price here. I really, really like this price because you look at the 2 guys. Randy Brown a little bit more experience than Jack Della Maddalena. And you look at his record, 6 of his fights have gone to a decision. He's only lost once by decision, to be honest, but he hasn't lost that many times. He's only lost 4 times altogether, 116, but 5 of his wins have gone to a decision. So he is a guy, you know, his last 3 fights in a row have all gone to a decision. He is a guy that goes a little bit longer in fights. Della Maddalena, not as much. You know, only won once by decision, has 11 knockouts, and that's why we have this price here. Now, if you're giving me straight up bets with all of these, I think I would go for Della Maddalena to get the finish. But when you're giving me that plus 300 against a guy like Randy Brown, who is, I think, not necessarily a tough matchup for Jack Della Maddalena, but I think will be a trickier matchup than what he's had before now. I said the same about Danny Roberts, right? And he finished him early. I said the same maybe about it in Mayev, and he finished him early. So look, Jack Della Maddalena might be the antithesis to Henry Corrales for this betting show, and I don't know why I'm doing it again, but I am doing it again, and it's just because of that price. Like, I think Della Maddalena will win this fight, right? And I think he will win it well. I could see a 30-27 or 30-26 or something in here, but I just feel like it's going to be a little bit longer than we're used to with Della Maddalena in this one. Look, the lads that Randy Brown has lost to have all been pretty high-level fighters, like Luque, Nico Price, Bilal Muhammad for the last few years. Okay, he lost to Michael Graves back in 2016. Was that tough or something like that coming into it? Maybe not. I think Graves was in tough, but you know what I mean? It's been very, very good guys. And I think Della Maddalena is a very good guy as well. I think he'll be, if not a future UFC champion, definitely top 5 and maybe challenging for a title at some stage. But I have to give a bit of respect to Randy Brown here. He's big, he's tall, he's well able to fight all the way around, and I think he can hang for a bit. Now, maybe this is like maybe I should have gone under 2.5 rounds or something like that here, but the price really did stick out to me. I really, really, really like this price at plus 300, and it is, a little bit of a flyer to kind of he's gonna pull it on a little bit. He's gonna hold out a little bit against Jack Della Maddalena. Maybe he'll be able to get a takedown, or maybe he'll be able to push him against the cage for a little bit and take the fight to a decision. You never know. So that's it, plus 300 for Jack Della Maddalena. To win by decision. Jack Della Maddalena to win by decision, plus 300. Right, bet number 4. I'll leave the main event flyer till the last bet. So the first flyer of the night. This is a very simple one. I won't have much analysis for this flyer because it's, again, I couldn't leave this price behind. So it's in the Parker Porter Justin Tafa fight. So first of all here, let's look at the straight up betting for this. Justin Tafa minus 121. Parker Porter plus 100. So basically, the same price. Justin Tafa a slight favourite at heavyweight. But the flyer I'm giving you is Parker Porter to win by knockout at plus 650. Plus 650 to get the knockout. Justin Tafa plus 145 to get the knockout. But I'm going for Parker Porter plus 650 to get the knockout. Now, both of these lads, look, we know what they're like. They both hit hard. They're both big hitting heavyweights, like all heavyweights seem to be. Tafa probably a bigger hitter, but Tafa Parker Porter, the bigger man. He has 5 wins by knockout. Maybe not as many as normal heavyweights do, but I think when you go in there against a guy like Justin Tafa, who's 5-3, has been knocked out once himself, and has a few, has a lot of knockouts by his own record, by the win side of his record. But got knocked out by Jorgen de Castro, a guy who I think isn't a bad fighter, isn't a great fighter either. Similar enough, I think, to Parker Porter. And to give me plus 650, that one kind of middling heavyweight knocks out another middling heavyweight when the betting lines are pretty much the same, it's very hard to turn down as a flyer, right? So if you're anyone out there, right, you look at this, how's this fight going to end? Is it going to end by decision between these two lads? Probably not. Is it going to end by submission? Probably not. But no, Parker Porter has a few submission wins. He's 3 submission wins, and he's 19 fights overall. He's lost 3 times by submission as well. But not, there is a chance. There is a chance there, but not massive. So that leads to when someone's going to win by knockout, right? And both of them are pretty much the same price to win straight up. But then you're giving me plus 650 that one of them wins by knockout. Do you know what? Like, that's just me looking at it now. Maybe it's a bit of Sean science here. Or Shawnee logic, but I like that logic. I think that logic makes sense. The fight's not going in by decision. The fight's not going in by submission. The fight's going in by knockout. Both of them are the same price to win straight up. Give me the slightly better price then to win by knockout. And who's that? That's Parker Porter, 650. Not even a slightly bigger price, a massively bigger price. I'm going to go for that one. Now, I don't know if that price will change or not. I've been looking at it for the last couple of days, and it has stayed the same at plus 650. So I'm going for that. Parker Porter to get the knockout, plus 650 straight up. Love that. Love that bet. Love it. Right. So that's one flyer. The second flyer of this week is another plus 650 bet on the main event, and it's Alexander Volkanovski to win by decision. Plus 650. I love this bet. I couldn't leave this one behind me either. Now, I said earlier, and we talked about why I think it'll go along, and I stand by all of that. The reason I think, look, will Volkanovski win? I'm giving Volkanovski as my pick to win, yes. Am I like massively confident in Volkanovski winning? No, I'm not massively confident. This is for me a 51-49, 55-45 type of fight in terms of percentages of who I think will win. But in that sort of fight, you know, you want to give me a plus 650. If he wins, how do I think he'll win? I think he'll probably win a decision. You know, he might get the knockout, but unlikely. I'd say he probably will win the decision if he does win. And for him to win at plus 650, 6.5 to 1, 13 to 2, I'll take that every day. Yes, please. Yes, please. It's plus 650. Let's talk a little bit maybe the analysis of the fight, right? I think, and I've spoken to 3 or 4 different people about this fight already in different previews and all of that. Spoke to John Anik and Kenny Florine about it the other day. That'll be out maybe by the time this is out, or around the same time over on their YouTube. I think sometimes we don't understand how good Alexander Volkanovski is, and you know, speaking for myself and John Anik and most of the people listening to this, maybe all the people listening to this, because, you know, we're not fighters, first of all, and we don't understand completely all of what's going on. We simply can't. I know a lot of fighters probably can't understand what Volkanovski does either, because he does it so well. And even us, me and everyone probably listening to this as hardcore MMA fans, we can see it without maybe understanding it, and admire it without maybe understanding it. But for others, maybe casual MMA fans or people who only watch a little bit, I think it's very hard, and what I'm getting to here is it's very hard to appreciate how good Alexander Volkanovski is, because it's so hard to understand how good he is, because it's so complicated. Like, I watch Volkanovski and I see him do these extraordinary things in terms of movement and variation that others don't do, while all the time staying so sound defensively and not getting hit, or not putting himself in a place to get taken down and all of that. Like, how can that be? How can it be that he is that good at all of that? Like, look at that Korean Zombie. It was a Korean Zombie fight. And I'm not comparing the Korean Zombie to Makhachev by any means, but look at the way he was able to style on him in all different positions when he was attacking him. Now, I will compare the Korean Zombie a little bit to Makhachev in his striking, because he is wilder, like Makhachev is with his striking. And if Volkanovski gets to a place where it's just him striking versus Makhachev, I think he can do exactly to Makhachev what he did to the Korean Zombie. Now, you add in the wrestling after that, and we have a whole different deal of it. But that's my analysis there. And sometimes, so there's 2 points to that. Sometimes we don't appreciate that, and we don't give him enough credit for it, simply because we don't understand it. But also, because it is so good, it's going to work against the wrestling game of Makhachev. And what I mean by that is, Volkanovski is such a good striker and such a good controller of fights that he will bamboozle you so much that your wrestling mightn't even be able to get going. That's how good I think Volkanovski actually is. Right now, Makhachev is very, very, very good as well at putting people in vulnerable positions and destroying them there. But Volkanovski is really good at not getting himself in vulnerable positions. And it's all about that, right? It's all about that. I think if Volkanovski can't control Makhachev's want to put him in a vulnerable position, he will lose that fight 10 times out of 10. If he cannot do that. But if he can control that with his striking on the feet, if he can control the area on which he's fighting in, as I said earlier on, being offensively varied while being defensively safe, I think he will destroy Makhachev. He'll destroy Makhachev as much as Makhachev will destroy him if he's able to put him on the ground and control him there for 5 rounds. Honestly, I really, really do. Will that happen? I don't know. My guess is it will. Now, It will at times throughout the fight. As I said earlier on, it's very easy to say, Makhachev's going to destroy him, Volkanovski's going to destroy him. The reality of it is that neither man is probably going to destroy either man. It'll probably be a very close fight. Makhachev might win one round, he might get a takedown. Volkanovski might stop it in the next round and win on defeat. And the next 3 rounds might be shared that way as well. Or parts of the next 3 rounds might be shared that way as well. It might be a close fight. Chances are that is going to happen. Right? And that is the beauty of this fight for me. I absolutely love it. I can't gush about this fight enough, really. And maybe there's some people out there saying, Shawnee, what the fuck are you talking about? Makhachev's going to destroy him and he's going to just take him out. And maybe he will, right? Maybe he will. But I don't care. I'm getting taken away in the analysis. I'm getting taken away in how excited I am about this. And I think everyone should too. It's a fight at the end of the day and we love fighting. We love MMA. And okay, we could place our bets here and we can have fun watching them and all. And that's the reason I want everyone to place their bets here and not get too crazy or anything about it. But God almighty, when that door closes on Saturday night and the two of them are put in there, it's going to be 6 a.m. and I'm going to be licking my lips and jumping out of my chair watching that fight because it's brilliant. It's such a great fight and I cannot wait for it. But yeah, the 5th bet, Volkanovski plus 650 to win by decision. I think it's going to be a close one and I'm going for Volkanovski. I think he'll win it. So yeah, those are the 5 bets for this week. Let's run through some of the other prices on this card. We have, I'll go from maybe bottom to the top. Elise Reed and Luma Lookboom. Luma is the favourite there, minus 265. I think she will win that one. We have Don Chalice against Jack Jenkins. I don't know too much about these lads. Jenkins is a big favourite there, minus 335. Shannon Ross against Cledson Rodriguez. Rodriguez, a big favourite there. Josh Kulibau is fighting Bashtarian, Melsik Bashtarian. They're around the same price, both of them minus. Both minus 112 here I see in one place. Very, very close in the prices here. Joshua Kulibau, I know he's training with Alan Philpott here from Ireland. Alan, down through the years has been a very good fighter. Has some very, very good wins and looked like he's getting into the coaching well now. Kulibau was very impressive in a recent fight as well. So I'd probably go for Kulibau in that one. Then Bukauskas and Pedro. Let's look at that one a little bit closer. Plus 200 for Bukauskas, minus 240 for Pedro. I think Pedro will win. I'm not sure about the minus 240 straight up. I'm looking at that and I'm seeing plus 175 for the knockout in Pedro, and I'm definitely going for that if I'm going for one. But we saw, the bet I gave for it is the under 2.5 rounds at minus 165. I do like that because it's. I'm still 100% unsure about both of them, to be honest, where they are at the moment. I was very tempted to go for the Pedro knockout. I was going to go for Pedro inside the distance as well, as I said earlier on. And that, again, let me just look at it quickly here. That is minus 130, if I'm not wrong, is it? Where is it? Pedro wins by decision. It's gone there for some reason. Actually, never mind. There it is. Minus 140. It's gone out to minus 140 now. So, yeah, I like that minus 165 to give both of them a chance under 2.5 rounds, to be honest. I like that there. Bukauskas to get the KO plus 375. Not a bad bet there. I do think someone will get knocked out. I think someone will get knocked out in this fight. And, I'm really looking forward to it, actually. I think it will be very, 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 very good. If you fancy the first round knockout for Pedro plus 325, like that bet as well. Really like that bet. One of the other fights I was looking at was Alonzo Minifield and Jimmy Crute, and definitely looking at a flyer in this one. Like Minifield, I think he's dangerous a lot of the time. It's only plus 250 for him to get the knockout when he is a plus 170 to win the fight straight up. I think this will be a close fight. I've sent in my pick over the Severe Bever, and I've gone for the draw because I too think it'll be close. I think anything could happen in this one. I would probably go for Crute if I was forced to pick a winner. Even at that price, I don't know at that price. Maybe at that price, I'd be tempted to go for Minifield. If it was a little bit wider, if Minifield was like plus 200, I would go for him. I think based on the price, I think it's borderline at that. I'll go for Crute. Tafa Porter. Look, it's a toss of a kind there. I like the bet we've given plus 650. Then Della Maddalena Brown. Minus 300 for Della Maddalena Brown, plus 250. Like to turn that minus 300 to plus 300 to win by decision. It's such a big turnaround in prices. I had to go for it. I'm not necessarily 100% sold on it actually happening, but as I said, I'm betting on the price there more than anything else. The problem is this here as well. You look at Della Maddalena to win by TKO KO minus 135. Yeah, He probably will. He probably will. I'm going against my own bet here, but it's an interesting one. But I do like him to win by decision as a price. And then we've Emmett against Rodriguez, which we haven't spoken about, and Volkanovski versus Makhachev. So Emmett against Rodriguez, I find it very hard to pick who's going to win this fight, if I'm being honest. The one bet I was looking at the over bets. Now, none of the prices stuck out to me in terms of loving them. I would like the over 2.5 rounds, but it's minus 280. The over 3.5 rounds is minus 240, and at that point I'm out there. I'm not betting on it at that price. The fight to go to a decision is minus 130. It's not big enough for me there either. Now, I do think someone might get the knockout here. So you're looking at the price for the knockout. Emmett between plus 300 and plus 400. Same for Rodriguez. Maybe a little bit less. So I actually see one place here plus 275 and plus 300. So Rodriguez is the favorite to get the knockout if someone does get the knockout. And just a straight up betting on that as well. Sorry. Yair is the favorite. Minus 170 plus 145 for Emmett. I think that's just about right. I do think this will be a bit of a longer fight. I do like Yair Rodriguez to win a decision, but plus 155 for Rodriguez to win decision. Not massively enamored with that fight in a fight that I think can go so many different ways. I really do. I could see either guy winning by decision. I could see either guy getting the knockout. Maybe I could see an Emmett submission as well. Let's see what price that is. Plus 220. Plus 2200. 2,200. That's a very good price. That might be a good flyer as well there. Not as likely as the other ones, I think, but a possibility. So, yeah, nothing sticks out to me. This might be a one where I'm watching on Saturday night, and the more I get into it, the more I think about it, the more I see him arriving, maybe something will stick out to me, and I will tweet it out, so keep an eye on at Sean Sheehan BA over on Twitter, but not massively sticking out to me at the moment there for that one. But the Volkanovski Makhachev one, obviously I've given you the two bets for that one, so we've gone for the over 2.5 rounds at minus 150, and the Volkanovski to win by decision flyer at plus 650. Those are the two bets that stuck out to me, so obviously I've given them to you. Fight goes to decision plus 160. I like that as well. I really do like that. Maybe Volkanovski won't win the decision. Maybe Makhachev will win the decision. And that gives you obviously both of them there. I do like that. The under 4.5 rounds is minus 130, which does, and the over is plus 110. So it does suggest the bookies are thinking this will go to a decision as well. From that price, but the price not to go to decision is minus 200 plus 160, as I said, to go to a decision. So I don't know. I think you can pick your poison there maybe a little bit. Pick your poison a little bit there. The over 4.5, as I said, plus 110. Then the decision plus 160. Well, if you're picking between the two of them, if you're 4.5 or 2.5 in a 3-round fight, the under makes sense to go for. The over, I think you're better off going for the decision if it's a bigger price, especially in a 5-round fight. Well, no, although we have seen recently, the 3 biggest fights of last year that got, awards and all of that, they were all finished in the 4th round, so famous last words for me, but interesting. If you look, there's 2 finishing bets here I think people will be looking at. Volkanovski KO TKO plus 650 as well, and then Makhachev wins by submission plus 150. If you're going for Makhachev to win the fight on the ground, I would nearly go for the Makhachev TKO KO, you know, because Volkanovski's very hard to submit, and maybe if he does dominate him, does turn him over, maybe ground and pound him out there. That can be gone anywhere from plus 650 to plus 900. So that's not a bad bet at all. Let's say you're going for Volkanovski to win the decision, plus 650 bet I gave you. If you can get up to plus 700, 800, 900 on the TKO for sorry, no, it's not that high. I take it back. Sorry, I was looking at the wrong one. It is from around plus 400 to plus 550, I see here in one place, up to plus 550. Still, that's a good price. If you want to go for that, Makhachev TKO KO, as well as the decision for Volkanovski, hedge your bets a little bit there. I think that might be a good way of doing it. No, we don't want to go too mad. We don't want to get carried away with all the bets either, but yeah, I think there are some good prices. There's a lot of good prices around here. Like I'm gonna like pull a few bets out of the hat here. Maybe as I get closer, I'll definitely be betting on the ones I gave here. But I think there's a lot of interest in bets here and a lot of talk throughout this week. Let me know in the comment section below what you're betting on. I will reply to you. I'll give you my opinion on it. If there's any changes or anything, what I'm thinking, I'll put it on Twitter, I'll put it in the comment section below. But definitely in the comment section here on YouTube, let me know what bet you're going for. And I will reply to you. I always reply to the people in the comment section. Love the people in the comment section. You're absolutely fantastic. So let's do that. Right, we'll end it there. I'll tell you my 5 bets again. So I'm going for the over, number 1. 2.5 rounds in Volkanovski versus Islam Makhachev. What's his name again? Islam Makhachev, is that it? What's his name? Is it Islam Makhachev? Is it? Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, maybe. Sorry, just doing Dana White impression there. That's minus 150. Pedro and Modestas Bukauskas under 2.5 rounds at minus 165. Della Maddalena wins by decision plus 300. My half a flyer, and then my 2 flyers for the week: Volkanovski by decision plus 650. Parker Porter by KO TKO plus 650 as well. All right, everyone, I will leave it there. Shout out to my guys over at Sherdog. Shout out to John Brannigan for the excellent editing, as always. Shout out to the comment section. And can't wait for the fights this weekend. Hope everybody massively enjoys them. Hope all the bets go well. And I will leave it there. My name is Sheehan for Sherdog.com. And I'll see you all next time.